I just want to show you a recent study of Bloomberg on the Indian education system. Look at this data. Out of the total number of graduating students in India, 40% are unemployed, and out of the 60% who are employed, a massive 26% only receive salary. Now, that is not supposed to be hysterical or sarcastic, but if you think about it, right, out of all the employed graduates, only 26% receive salary, and of those 26%, mind you, right, of these 26% who do receive salary, guess what, 96% do not receive any sort of benefits along with their salary to sustain their life. And in terms of life insurance, in terms of medical insurance, all of these. So not all of them get all of these, but some get some, right? For example, I don't get life insurance from my organization, but I do get medical insurance. So that's really the state of the Indian education system, and let's talk about it. Right from our schooling days all the way till undergraduation, maybe post graduation, it's a really expensive affair. And as you can see here, right, inflation is really hits hard in this, right, and it kind of has been ever increasing. If you look at all, or rather majorly the other kind of forms of where we experience inflation, education is something where serious expense always goes in. The inflation is always higher. And like, just to give you a bit of context, when I was in BTech, the fee that was charged in that same college, now it is almost twice that. So I graduated in 2013. I started in 2013, graduated in 2017. Now it's 10 years later, the fees has doubled almost. So you kind of get an idea of where this is coming from, and this is the reason that we really need to have a serious conversation as to why this is happening, okay? And we really need to understand that we, as students, you have to kind of do better in terms of developing your skill sets to be employable, okay? This is extremely important for you to consider. Now, why do I consider this to be of very high importance, right? Because understand, as graduates, you really have a very good time to get employed and then build out your career. So, for example, I'm an MBA graduate, but then MBA did mean that additional 2 to 3 years of my life I had to spend being unemployed. And that's really not what you want, because you want to start as early as possible in your career and then, kind of exit it again relatively early so that you can actually enjoy your life. So these are the things that you kind of have to understand. And it's not about engineering, commerce, MBBS, doctor field, whatever, right? This is for all graduates that I just mentioned before, and you really need to develop your own skills. And also, in this current world that we're living in terms of artificial intelligence, and how organizations are choosing to invest in those tools rather than people, that's a very problematic scenario for India. Why? Because if you look at India broadly, the middle class, right, the Indian middle class has really grown because of globalization, because of the information technology boom, the service sector. Without that, there is really no middle class, and the current scenario is not really helping it at all. So please understand that the things that are being taught in your college may not be the only things that you require. And I'm talking about any college. It doesn't matter that if you're in, say, an IIT or an AIMS, that whatever they're teaching you will be good enough. No, that's not really the case. And even if that is, let me be very frank, even if that is the case, please understand that your uh, job, right, your placement, it really depends on you outperforming your batchmates. In India it's always relative. If you are good, that really doesn't cut it. Why? Because your batchmates, they may be better than you, and the organization only cares for getting the best group or the best employee. Okay, so if you are not as good as your batchmates, or if you don't perform as good as your batchmates, you're not really going to get employed. So please keep these things in mind. I'll make a video about AI next time, but please keep these things in mind as well. So yeah, that was a very short video on the state of employment. And there has been a lot of recent chatter, but please understand that this is not a political issue in a sense, right? Every government, state, center, past, present, potentially future also, education has never been their core focus and will probably not be their core focus. But you need to really take ownership. And I understand a lot of times these things are out of your hands, but please try to understand where the country is and potentially going, to know what you are getting into. If you're a parent, understand what your child is getting into. So yeah, these things are there. See you in the next video. It's going to be about AI and how the job market, the organizations in general, and how economies are kind of intertwined in this. So yeah, see you in the next video. Bye.